All right, it is cold outside in my 2000 3rd Gen 4Runner, and I don't have any heat. I turned my little knob on my dash on the electronic one, the one that always goes bad, no heat. How do we fix this? I'm gonna show you. And what I've been experiencing is the clicking sound underneath somewhere underneath the dash, on the passenger floorboard, kind of down below the stereo. And my heater's not working. So the heater will work and it'll blow, but I just don't get any hot air. So how do we fix that? What's going on? That's what I'm going to share with you. I figured it out, and I'm going to show you how to fix it. All right, so like I said, I've been getting this clicking sound from underneath there. It'll go click, 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 click. I've got the old school digital dash that everybody knows. If you own a 3rd Gen with one of these, they're troublesome. So I ended up having to bypass my AC buttons because my buttons don't work. So I just put in this switch and ran it down and totally bypassed in here how it hooks in. So I can run AC without messing with that. Besides that, so I turned the heat on, and it's here in Missouri. It's 27 degrees outside right now, and it goes click, 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 and I hear that down here. I'm like, what is that? So I start doing research, and come to find out, you can take your glove box off and all that, but that doesn't really help. Right here, I've taken it out. There's a servo motor. This is the cable that hooks up to it. But that motor sits right in here, and inside it is a gear. So here in a minute, I'm going to go inside, I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to flip the gear like people say. You can buy a new one for about 160 bucks is what I gather, but I'm going to try to salvage it. So, but what I've been doing in the meantime is, and you can see it's wet in here, so I've been spraying PB or blaster silicone on that white gear right there that rotates on. I've also been spraying the cable with it. So out here, where does that cable go? If you haven't figured it out already, and this broke on my truck a few years ago, I had to replace it. It's this. It's the, I don't know the name of it, so you guys might probably know. But anyhow, what it does is this lever moves back and forth. Well, it's supposed to. Oh, I pushed it too hard. There we go. So it moves back and forth like so. And what that does is it opens and closes the coolant from coming in and heating up your heater core and all that stuff. So that's where you get your hot air from. So it's a mixture though, because you can half and half fresh air and hot air from the coolant and vice versa. So I've taken this cable here, I kind of widen that up a little bit. On the back side of that clip is that little tab sticking out. So I pressed down on it to flatten it out, and then pushed it from the back side out to give me some room to pull this cable out. I've got some vice grips on it here, and then all I've been doing is spraying this silicone blaster. I love blaster stuff. Spraying it in there and then working it back and forth. It's easier to do when I have a hand, but I'm holding my camera. But spray a little bit on there like so, and I've been holding it upright. Gravity is your friend. And then I'll press it, push in, pull out, push in, pull out. So I'll spray the silicone spray on like that, grab the cable, and then just work this. And I've just been keep doing it over and over again. Try to get some of that down in there. Gravity. I also did it on the other side. And this thing was really hard to move when I first started. And it's loosened up a whole bunch. Alright, so let's take a gander and see what we got in here using my handy dandy Leatherman. Should probably have my glasses on. And I could take that off, but I'm gonna not do that now unless I need to. So I'm gonna open this up, work on it, and then we'll talk about the gear and flipping it over. All right, stand by. All right, let's talk about what I've done to get here. So, taking this cover off, I went ahead and took the metal plate off, as you see. Laid the screws out to coincide with that pattern, so I don't forget. Took this arm off, and this arm, because it's on the gear, it sets a certain way on there. So make sure you mark that so you know where that needs to go back on. Little ear tabs, pull this off. All right, so now we're in here. Now I'm looking at the gear and what is more than likely making the clicking noise, and I can see that those gears are just chewed off. So I'm not 100% that flipping at 180. Yeah, that should work. Yeah. So this side is all chewed off. It's all gray and nasty. That is where that metal gear is ground down the plastic. So I'm going to pull the white off. And now whenever I read flip at 180, I thought like a pancake, flip it over. Well, I'm not going to flip it over 180. I'm going to take this side and move it to this side. So flip it like that. Let's see how easy. Oh, very easy. It comes right up. Make sure nothing else falls out here. All right, so that pulls right out. So I'm not flipping it over. I pulled it out like so. 180. Putting it back in. And that way those fingers on these electrodes will still line back up. So I'm going to make sure it's a complete 180. Set that back down in there like so. Looks pretty 180 to me. So the one outside where the plastic's ground down from that metal gear to fresh gears here. So now I'll put my cover back on, and I mean, in theory, we should be good. So I'll take my cover, put it back on, click all the little tabs. Okay, so these metal rods go in these little holes right there. So that's lined up like that, like that. Slides on, looks centered. Press together, make sure all these tabs are back down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now I'll put this plate back on. So I'm going to orient this to coincide with that plate, because the reason I did that, and when I set the screws out, I set them in a pattern like this, because they are not all the same length screws. So for whatever reason, it's probably important. So I'll put those back in. We'll do this one first, and then we'll put that arm on. Right, like so. You've got a nut, a washer, and a lock washer. So I'll put this back together, and we'll go put it out in the truck, and we'll see what happens. All right, here we are back out the truck, and it is getting freaking cold out here. So I'm going to go ahead and put this thing in. I'm not going to record it. It's 3 screws. It's probably going to take me a little bit to do it, so, and it's going to be super boring for you guys to watch. So, but once I get it in, we'll up and see. We'll fire it up and see if it worked. So this just sits up in there, and one of these screws is way back up in there, and it's hard to get to. So, not looking forward to it, but got to get her done. So, all right. And I'll just show you how it works. As you turn that temperature, you know, to the cold, then it'll close off the heater core thing. So I'll rotate that, and you guys can see how this works. Because what it now this is closed. The thing worked on earlier, right in there, and that cable that we loosened up, or we lubricated. So that, if I turn it from the inside, you should be able to see, watch it turn. So I may actually push that cable in a little bit. Well, it looks like it's stopping. Nah, it's got a little bit of room. So it's open now. You can see that arrow on that arm. To the left is shut, which is cold. And to the right is hot. So it opens it up, lets that antifreeze flow through there. Alright, final product. Show you up in here how this works. Not a lot of room. All right, there's that arm. It's on hot. I'm going to rotate it with my left hand on the dash to cold. There it goes. And it changes from the floor to the dash vents. Going back to hot. Bingo. Everything works. All right, get her done, boys and girls. Hillbilly fixes. All right. I gotta say, I am freaking thrilled because I don't mind turning wrenches, but on electrical stuff it sucks. Anyways, I hope that helped because I know this is a booger for. It was a booger for me. So good luck. That's it. It's just time consuming. It's little tight spaces. So if you're don't have little fingers, you're gonna struggle. That's all I got, man, or folks. Hope that helped. All right, see ya.